submersible's light caught it at 6,000 meters, not moving, not reacting. The creature registered nothing, not the intrusion of photons, not the pressure change of our presence, not the fact that it was being seen for the first time by anything that could understand what seeing meant. It existed in a state of indifference so complete that our arrival was geological. That's the moment everything changes, not when we name it, not when we measure it. When we understand, we are not its audience. The ocean is not a stage waiting for us to arrive. The ocean is a frame of reference where we do not exist at all. In 2026, somewhere in the absolute darkness at the bottom of the Pacific, researchers descended into a trench they hadn't fully mapped. The pressure at that depth is approximately 1/100 times what you feel at sea level right now. Your chest, feel it, that slight pressure behind your sternum, that's 1 atmosphere. At the depth where this creature lives, that same chest would experience 1100 of those simultaneous compressions. The ribcage is a fragile architecture, the breath impossible, the body a thing that cannot survive, and yet something is thriving there, not thriving, existing. Indifferent to whether it thrives or not, that's the distinction that matters. The creature has no eyes, not vestigial eyes, no eyes at all, no need to see what cannot be seen. The darkness at 6,000 meters is not a condition, it's a constant. It's not something that happens in the deep. The deep is darkness. Everything else is occasional intrusion. We are the aberration. Our light is the invasion. It has photoreceptors instead, cells that can detect bioluminescence at a distance, the chemical flirtation between creatures millions of years old, passing signals through water that has never known what an up or down means. The creature exists in a conversation it was born into. We arrived in the middle of a sentence. The pressure differential creates a specific architecture of the body. Every cell is engineered to withstand crushing force. The proteins are different, the fats are different. The entire molecular structure has been sculpted by an environment that would liquefy almost everything on this planet. If you brought this creature to the surface, it would not adapt, it would dissolve. Not metaphorically, literally, the cell membranes would rupture as the pressure that shaped them suddenly released. It is not a creature that evolved to survive the deep. It is a creature that cannot survive anywhere else. That distinction is the entire story. In 2026, we catalogued 47 new species in zones we've explored less than we've explored the moon. The lunar surface has been mapped to within 1 meter. The abyssal plain, the vast flat zone of ocean floor between 5,000 and 6,000 meters down, is darker in our collective knowledge than craters we've only seen from satellites. The creatures we found were not hiding. They were simply living in a place we couldn't go. A place our technology is only now fragile enough to reach. Most of them have no names yet in any human language. Names require time. Names require consensus. The scientific nomenclature is still being debated. For now, they exist as designation numbers, as images in a submersible's archive, as data that has not yet been translated into the comfortable language of discovery. But one of them, let's call it the unnamed one because that's more honest, one of them does something that breaks the pattern. It emits bioluminescence on a schedule that appears to have nothing to do with hunting, nothing to do with mating, nothing to do with territory. The glow pulses at regular intervals. 17 seconds of luminescence, 43 seconds of darkness, 17 seconds, 43. Over and over in water so far from any other light source that the nearest bioluminescent creature is nearly a kilometer away. It is signaling. But to what? To whom? The question sits in the darkness with us. At this depth, a kilometer might as well be infinity. The light can travel perhaps half that distance in water thick with particles and cold enough to stop almost all molecular motion. The creature is sending a message that cannot be received, or it is receiving messages we cannot detect, or it is speaking a language where the distinction between sending and receiving dissolved millions of years ago. We watched it for 4 hours. It did not change its pattern. It did not acknowledge the submersible. It did not accelerate or slow. It did not know it was being documented. The light that illuminated it for our cameras was a microscopic fraction of the absolute dark surrounding it, a fleck of intrusion in an ocean that has been itself for longer than anything with our shape has been alive. Then we rose, back through the water that grew colder and warmer in strange strata, back through the pressure that mounted with every meter, back toward a surface that felt less real than the darkness we left behind. The creature continued its 17-second pulse, 43 seconds of dark. It will continue that rhythm whether we ever return or not, whether we understand it or not, whether we survive long enough to comprehend the scale of what we don't know. That's the mercy of finding something in the deep. It teaches you that the universe does not require your presence to be extraordinary, that indifference is more beautiful than acknowledgement, that you are not central to the story you came to observe, you are not even in the story. You arrived as a question mark in water that has its own answers, answers that have been forming for longer than your species has been asking questions. The creature pulses its light, you watch from behind glass, and somewhere in that gap, the space between your need to understand and its complete lack of need to be understood, something true lives, something that survives by not needing you at all. The deep ocean in 2026 is still mostly dark, still mostly unmapped, still mostly alive with things we have not named, things we will not understand, things that continue their conversations in pressure and silence that our instruments can barely touch. And it's getting harder to look away.